Hello everyone and welcome to this edition of the WaybackTECH. Got a little bit of a project here. I've had this computer sitting at work for about a year now and I wanted to go ahead and try to revive it here. This is a HP A6700F computer. Here are the original specs. And I've decided to save this computer because the fact that it had a Phenom quad core in it and 4 gig of RAM and a DVD burner and all that stuff, I figured it was probably worth keeping around because, you know, it's not terribly a slow computer. It's a rather attractive case. But this is all that I brought home for this video. This is a very filthy computer even after having vacuumed it up. As you can see, there's all manner of dirt and dust and grime inside of there. I did get some of the hairballs that were in this thing out of there. Quite nasty. This computer came into my store about a year ago, as I said, and it doesn't power on. I believe at the time we decided that it was motherboard. And I think that the hard drive may have also been bad in this computer. I do still have the hard drive carrier, which would latch in right here, as well as the side covers and the front panel. I think we used the CD-ROM. In fact, I think the CD-ROM might be what I used in the server there, actually. But anyway, if any of you that watch my videos are into IT or computer repair, you'll definitely know that if you do customers or walk-ins or things like that, most customers are, well, frankly, assholes. And so a lot of times, you know, the old saying goes that time is money. Well, in my case, that's definitely true because I service between, I have enough bench space to do about 10 to 20 machines at any one time. And that number varies because of, you know, how many you can get on their laptops versus desktop computers. I also do network support as well, so I don't have a lot of time, and I'm not the only one working on computers anymore over there, but I don't have a lot of time to spend tinkering with stuff when the customers that come in want their stuff done yesterday. They have this obscene time schedule that they think that, you know, you can just wave a magic wand and have it fixed in 5 minutes, you know, kind of a thing. If it sits there for more than a day, they're calling and griping. So sometimes you just have to make hasty decisions that may or may not be the case, but my decisions, my rationality for why something goes bad is usually about 80 to 90% right. There's only occasionally, you know, that 10 or 15% that really wasn't the problem. It was just more of something a little bit simple. One of the things that comes in handy for diagnosis is one of these PCI code scanners right here. You can get these off eBay. I think this one was, probably about $15 or something like that, maybe 20. It supports Phoenix Award and AMI BIOSes. It'll display the code. It'll also show your voltages right across here. The display is backlit, and it not only displays the code number, but it gives you a description of what the meaning of that code is. It's nice to have one of these, but you really don't need one of these unless you've got something very, very strange going on your computer. This motherboard, as I said, won't turn on, and let me go ahead and plug this guy back in here, and I'll demonstrate that. This is probably a more common problem than not. I'll just go ahead and plug him in, plug Sparky in here. As you can see, we have a green light on the power supply telling us that everything should be a-okay. This is a light-on power supply, which is not a bad model. Light-on makes pretty good power supplies. Now, these things are built pretty tough, but let's see what happens here. Absolutely nothing. But to double check to make sure that it is a bad power supply, even though everything says it's a-okay back here, and a lot of times when you have an LED back here, this means that everything's a-okay. If you see this not come on at all, that means the power supply is shorted out or there's something very, very wrong with it. sometimes these things will come on but they're very dim, or they'll flicker, or they'll do all kinds of weird kinds of things right there. So, but this is not 100% guaranteed. What we want to do is we want to replace this with a test power supply. We gotta find a place here to set it so that it doesn't fall over, which could be the challenge. And now at work I have a power supply that has a much longer cord on it, so I can just set it on to the side of the computer and plug it in. So I'll go ahead and unplug Sparky from the outlet here. And you don't have to have power going to your drives if you don't want. You just want to see if the motherboard will indeed turn on at all. There we go. And let's get the other power supply into the processor. Get this out of the way. This is actually from my Dell server. And when I turn that into a workstation, I put like a 500 or 600 watt power supply, something like that. And yes, I was holding the camera with my chin. Okay, so pretty good capacitors on that power supply. Let's see what happens now. Oh, look at that. And we have life. So in reality, the only thing that was wrong with this was the power supply. Yes, I know about the fan, as I don't have one in there right now. Let's take a closer look and find out why the power supply is bad. Now, keep in mind that this computer was full of dirt and grime and dust and all kinds of manner of things that, well, is definitely in the power supply, as you can see. So maybe the problem is that there's so much dirt and grime in that thing that's causing some kind of an internal short. It would be nice to fix that. So let's go ahead and I'll pull this out of the computer and we'll take it apart and see what we've got. And not too surprising, the power supply is a filthy mess. As you can see, there's some more of that lovely hairy crap that was in the rest of the case down in there. But surprise, surprise, we have some pop capacitors. In fact, I see at least 3 of them right here, and there may be some more hidden under these wires, although it doesn't look like it. So we've got 2 that are, one that's definitely gone bad. This one's leaking here. These ones have gone all kinds of nipply over here. This one's starting to bulge and leak a little bit there too. But that's okay, because the power supply is still technically functional, even though the motherboard doesn't think it's good enough to power it on. I think replacing those capacitors is all this thing's going to need, and we'll have a good working power supply again. Of course, it's going to need a very thorough cleaning, and I think this is a job for Mr. Dishwasher. As a matter of fact, the entire computer, I believe, is going to be going into the dishwasher. Just got to make sure that, you know, expose this stuff to water, that you pull a CMOS battery out of it, and in the case the power supply, make sure that the capacitors are discharged, and then of course allow everything ample time to dry. But I think this should make a recovery. I don't see these light-on power supplies fail all of that terribly often, but I do see them fail occasionally, and this is definitely a case where it's either cheap capacitors or possibly just a little bit of running too hot because of the lack of good airflow that was caused by all this gummed up garbage, or perhaps there was a little bit of electrolysis going on here amongst all this filth and garbage down in here, which caused those things to eventually die and short out and get overpowered or something like that. But anyway, This is definitely a job for ye dishwasher, so we're going to dump all this in there, and we'll probably give it a couple days or so to dry, and we'll go about replacing those pop capacitors right there, and we'll see if we can bring this thing back to life. Parts are loaded up into the parts washer, as I'm going to call it. Going to give them a good old dish swishing here, and hopefully we'll have a clean working computer on the other side of this. These stickers will probably not appreciate this a whole lot, but who gives a shit, right? This is a Vista machine. I don't need the Vista COA anymore. And just to round it all off, we're going to use some high quality Safeway brand dish powder. Yes, that's right. And we'll just put a little bit in there, and then a little bit of pre-wash in there. And there we go. We'll let that run for a while, and we'll check on it in about an hour or so. Well, we're roughly an hour later. Let's see what we got here. Ooh, some lens fogging is what we got. Quite a bit cleaner than when it came in, that's for sure. And it even took all that crap off those caps. Fan is spick and span. I'd say those are probably good enough to eat off of now. Definitely wouldn't have wanted to consider doing that before. And let's take a look at the motherboard here. Yeah, it's quite a bit cleaner than it was. It looks brand new. Heatsink looks very, very clean now. Wow. And all the stickers are still intact. There goes my microwave. And now let's just take a look at the case here. Oh yeah. Very nice. Looks brand new now. It's for a few water spots here and there, but other than that, and the stickers look like they're mostly intact still. XP, the Vista sticker is a little worn off, but that's okay. I can still see the number. Not that I'm going to put Vista back on this, but you know. Now I got the capacitors changed in the power supply. Used some Rubicon Z's that I had laying around, even though they're technically for a motherboard, they should work just fine in this, hopefully. Probably is a good idea to go ahead and replace all the caps, but I just don't really feel like that, so other ones aren't leaking or bulged or anything like that, so hopefully they're still good. So we'll go ahead and get this thing hooked up to a motherboard here, powered up, and see what we got. Alright, here comes the moment of truth. We have life. Will we have a screen? Yes, we do. Sweet! That's all it was those capacitors keeping it from turning on. Just a little dab will do ya of a little Arctic silver. And we'll just go ahead and mount the heat sink back onto here. And we'll go ahead and plug our fan back in here. That's a system fan. Where is the CPU fan at here? Ah, it's up here. Why, pray tell, did they put it all the way over here? Oh well. Well, after a few days of installing the operating system and testing and things like that, everything is still working a-okay. So I think we've been able to completely restore this nice little HP computer. Power supply is still holding up well. Got an add-on video card. I still got to put another 4 gig of memory in it. Still running 4 right now, so maxed out to 8. And everything is good to go. This will make a good computer for the person this is going to. Well, hope you guys like this. Take care, everyone.